Welcome here. We're live here at the Culture and Effect podcast. Hey, what's up? I'm T-Lay.
Brandon Richard.
All right, man. Look, I know it's been a minute since we dropped a new episode, and I'm blaming it on Brandon.
No, don't blame it on me.
Hey, but look,
Hey.
Brandon. But look, recently, man, I went down to Essence Music Festival recently, man, and had a great time at the Essence Music Festival. But at Essence, man, I got introduced to a young lady, man, and I'm telling you, she came with some fire. And you know, when she came up to the table for me to interview her, it's crazy. It's like I was talking to somebody else, and then I look around, she was sitting there. And it's like she just popped up out of nowhere. Like,
Okay.
it's crazy. So then after looking at the movie, I was like, oh snap.
Okay. She had some practice in doing it, huh?
Yeah, man. I'll tell you. But look, man, her movie, man, she debuted her movie she just dropped. She debuted it at the Essence Music Festival, and we're gonna get right into it, man, because she's gonna be a special guest on the podcast today. Before we get into it and before we introduce her, man, I want to show y'all the trailer of Bora. The movie's called Bora. I want to show y'all the trailer of it, right? So I want y'all to check it out.
Oh my God, are you okay?
I don't know, do I look okay to you? Your daddy didn't teach you not to pick up strangers?
Sometimes God calls on his soldiers. We gotta break the rules.
Good morning, Buttercup. Hey, you know what we should do? You should let me show you LA.
Everything just feels super intense right now.
It's freedom. You're free, bitch. Hey, I play the game. I play nice. But at the end of the day, pussy rules everything.
All right, there it is. All right, so man, that is the movie right there. Like that's the trailer of the movie, and you see right there pretty much what it is right there. So look, I got the lady herself, Miss Tiffany Toney. She's here with us today. Miss Tiffany.
What's good? All right, how you doing?
What's up, Miss Tiffany?
Thank you for having me.
No problem. All
You
right,
look-
so
Look traumatized.
I am, especially after watching your movie.
She just popped up out of nowhere, huh? You didn't see her. You was talking to somebody else, and next thing you know, you turn your head. She was right there.
Right there, man. Right there. So
She seemed to do that a lot in that movie.
She did. Let's get right into it, man. For the people that's out there that's watching, that's listening to the podcast and stuff, can you tell other people a little about yourself?
And I'm you know,
Your audio skipping out.
okay.
Yeah.
See if I can. Is that better?
Yeah, that's
That's
better.
better.
That's better?
Yeah, that's good.
Cool. So I was a girl with a dream. You know, I moved to LA wanting to be an actress, and nobody would really give me a real shot. You know, they kept telling me I wasn't Black enough and I was too Black to play a Latina or, you know, an Indigenous woman or anything like that. So I just decided, you know what, like when the pandemic hit, I had to ask myself, you know, if this is the end of the world, like, how do I want to be remembered? You know, like, do I want to be remembered as somebody who, you know, didn't complete her goals or didn't complete her tasks, you know, as somebody who didn't leave a legacy behind, or do I want to leave a legacy behind? And so for me, it was really about like, what is that legacy that I'm leaving behind and how do I want to do that? And I was able to come, you know, together with some of my fellow filmmakers and make this movie. And I know it looks like studio quality and it looks like a studio made this movie, but it was really just like me and like three homies, you know, coming together and putting our brains together. And I just exploited all of my resources and really went out and decided like, you know what, like, I'm not going to let this industry tell me no or put me in a box or tell me like, what defines a Black woman or what defines an Indigenous woman or what defines a, you know, and if you're too mixed to play this role or you're too Black to play that role, like I just was tired of hearing that. And I had to decide to take you know, to bet on myself. And so that's what I did. And I'm just really grateful for the way it turned out, but it was hard. I'm not going to lie, you know, like it was really, really hard. one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I have a master's degree, so it was harder than that.
Yeah. So let me go back real quick. You said how many were you? How many people were you making this film?
My main crew was me and two dudes, James in Black, who was my cinematographer and editor, who did a lot of our post-production. And then my partner, Andre China McCoy, who he doubled Morpheus in The Matrix, actually. And so I like mentors and co-producing partners. And he, you know, was my co-director and like kind of helped me, you know what I'm saying? Just with everything, you know, like those two guys were my team, you know, and a lot of people look at this movie and they think like, oh, you had a studio, you had a budget, you had a, like, I was living in my car part of the time. Like we were in the midst of the pandemic, like on and off unemployment. Like it was really, really, really difficult times, you know? And so while everybody else was freaking out about the world falling apart, I mean, I was freaking out too, I'm not gonna lie. But I was like, you know, I had to, this movie was like therapy for me, a way for me to like do something creative and empower myself in a time when like it was very uncertain and I didn't know how it was going to go or what the rest of our lives were going to look like, you know? So
yeah, I can definitely tell y'all did a great job with the crew that you had, especially when you see the angles and everything you record from, how to pick, how it looks. It definitely looks like you said, like you got a studio behind you.
Thank you. Yeah, my team is really talented. It's only 3 of us, but
you can tell.
Super talented. It just goes to show like when Black people, you know, are given an opportunity to maximize and optimize their talent, how resourceful we can be, you know, and I'm just really proud of my team.
All right, can you tell us about your character in Bora and what drew you to it?
Well, I wrote it, so you know, I always wanted to play like America's favorite villain or something like that. You know, I grew up watching like Catwoman, and I always admired like Angelina Jolie and like you know, Zoe Saldana and like women like that who had this like strength and intelligence, but were also very sexy in the midst of all of that. And I was like, you know, I want to play a character like that. I want to be remembered as like America's favorite villain. You know what I mean? And like, who I knew that nobody was going to give me that opportunity. So I had to give it to myself. And I just felt like, you know, a lot of the roles that I was auditioning for, they were all the same, like the mom or the mistress or, you know, the girl that the man is cheating with or just what, you know, these typical roles that I just felt like, okay, like I'm grateful to play it, but like anybody could do that. You know, I really wanted to stretch myself and I wanted to create something that was controversial and crazy and wild and unpredictable. And, you know, we don't get to be that in our everyday lives. And for me to be able to be that on screen and to be this character who just like didn't give a fuck what anybody thought, it was liberating. And it was a healing process for me to be like, why do I care so much? You know, like Bora says what she feels and does what she wants. Why am I tripping? You know? And so this character, in a way, I feel like she kind of like saved me from a lot of things. And I feel like she saves people from themselves in a way and empowers them to stand up for themselves when they're in situations that like really don't honor their boundaries or who they are, you know? And so this character just really spoke.
She definitely make you stand up for yourself.
I'm not saying go kill nobody. You know.
What's up? Are you your heritage, are you Afro-Latino?
So it's, you know, when people say Afro-Latina, I think they kind of just assume that like all indigenous peoples are Latino, you know, all Mexicans, Latina, and there is a difference for sure. But like, you know, society kind of just groups us all together. But my roots, my ancestors are indigenous, Aboriginal, and I have like tribal citizenship here as an indigenous Aboriginal American. And then the rest of my ancestors my roots are of an island called Mali in Africa. And that's where I trace back to. There's some British in there too, a little bit of Jewish, which I don't know where my money at.
You need reparations both ways.
2% Jewish isn't enough for me to collect a check, but but no, predominantly indigenous, Aboriginal to North America, and African American. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the reason I ask is it's, you know, it's the time frame is centered around like the Day of the Dead and everything. You know. So, and
Yeah.
the mask and all that, those type of details.
Hmm. Yeah, I really wanted to create something that merged Black and brown culture because
Hmm.
product of both, and I've experienced both, and I always feel very like comfortable in both spaces. And for me, I noticed that there's a lot of tension between Black and brown communities, and I think that's only based on the fact that we don't quite understand exactly how much we have in common.
Yeah.
You know? And if we really took a moment to sit and like process that and just have difficult conversations with each other, we would realize that at the end of the day, like our wants and our struggles are very, very, very similar for very different reasons, of course. And our oppression has it looks different. It looks very different, but at the same time, all somehow ended up in the same place systemically. So for me, I was like, I want to create something that sort of like creates conversations that lead to bridging that gap. And so on the soundtrack, you're hearing like Spanish rappers, you're hearing
Yeah.
me rap and sing in Spanish, you're hearing
Uh-huh.
whole culmination of different cultures, rock, jazz, all of these people from different backgrounds coming together to make the sounds of this movie. And for me, that was really important.
Yeah,
So
because I noticed it wasn't a lot of like mainstream music. I heard Ray J, but that's about
yeah,
it. And the music, I really enjoyed the music too as well.
thank
Yeah.
you.
And speaking of that,
Yeah,
we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about that because you said something that I just caught on to. You said that you was rapping on some of it.
I sure
All
will.
right. So we're gonna talk about that. Y'all stick around, man. We're gonna talk about more of Miss Tiffany Toney, movie Bora, and so much more coming up right after this.
Hurt with a name to know. Go Guerrero. When you need advice and don't know where to go. Go Guerrero. When family matters, we've been a family firm for over 85 years. At Guerrero, the difference is clear. When you're hurt with a name to know. Go Guerrero.
This calling me collect. Hello?
Hey, what's up, T-Lay, man? It's T-Baby, man. I need you to get me out of jail and get me out of jail now. Who? T-Baby, man. Stop playing with me, bro.
Man, you better call Tyrone. If you find yourself like this in need to call Tyrone, well, call Mr. Bell Bonds. That's 325-3733. Serving all of Northeast Louisiana, Washington Parish, Lincoln, Union, Richland, West Care, and Jackson parishes. That's Mr. Bell Bond. In jail, call Mr. Bell, 325-3733.
You seem kind of tense, love. I want some music, change the mood.
What are you about to put on?
I'm about to play my jam. I'm gonna play my summertime jam. See what you know about this one.
Wow.
Man, that smile. You know what happened at the end of that night.
Welcome back to the Culture and Effect podcast. I'm T-Lay. You muted, Brandon.
Brandon Richard.
Got a special guest in the building, man, with us, man. Miss Tiffany Toney. Just if you just joined us, you just saw the clip right there from her movie, man, that she stars in. She wrote, she produced it, everything. Miss Tiffany Toney, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Man. I can't complain. I'm just honored.
Look, before we went to break, you said, so we was talking about the soundtrack of the movie, and you said on some of the songs and stuff, you were singing and rapped on it.
Yeah, I did. I got a chance to go write. Like my hour. So when I was actually like, I just didn't have the reason. I was living in my car and like just making this movie like out of just thin air, you know. And so I bumped into this guy by the name of Jason Betts, and he's a composer, and he did the score and the music supervision for the film. And he was like, you know, I really think you should be on some of these tracks, like, because you're bored, you know. And I was like, okay. So then we just kind of started playing with it, and I was like, you know, I knew I really wanted a very customized sound, and I wanted to create a genre of music that didn't exist yet. And it took us some time to kind of get on the same page with it because he's, a Black dude from Kansas City and he's new to LA. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I wanted to sound like LA, I wanted to sound
Yeah.
like rap, but LA, like rap, but bachata, like rap, but, like with some stuff, so we had to kind of like customize and create a new sound. And it was just really dope, like experiencing that and going through that process. And one of the artists who, I just really, man, I look up to him so much. His name is McGrady OG, and he's like the Mexican Too Short. And he and I are,
Okay.
we did a couple songs together on this soundtrack. And he is like, an LA native, but the generation before him is like from Mexico. Like he's got like deep rooted, knowledge about his history and his culture. And when I saw how much he understood about who he was and his culture, it made me want to understand more about my own. And so as we create together, without even having to say it, he and I are bridging gaps and just creating love that might not have existed before. And I don't even know if that was his intention or if that's even his, but he ended up like not only in the movie, but on several of the songs. And, I included him as a co-producer on this because I just felt like without him and without Pico Union and East LA, like this movie doesn't really hit the same and it doesn't give people the feeling that I wanted it to have, so I'm just like, just really honored, really, really honored.
Which character did he play?
So he was the guy in the liquor store who was like, nah, like, I'm taking all this water. And then he came.
Okay, yeah.
She right.
It's water free. It's supposed to be
Water
free.
free.
Right?
This is natural resource.
Actually, that lowrider club, like he started that lowrider club. So to be able to ride around in the hoopty with him and, through his hood and for them to show me so much love, as a brown community and letting this Black woman just come through who's not even from there and to trust with their image and with everything, like it means a lot, and it was very powerful. So.
You think I can get away with going to the store and grabbing some water? Hey, this is a natural resource. This water is supposed to be free and walk out.
Try it and let me know.
Oh.
All right, so look, real quick.
You got a call from the Louisiana Correctional Facility.
Yeah, you better pick up. Right, so getting back to you, man, I didn't know this. You was an athlete back in your day, huh?
I was a pro softball. I played in college at Bowie State University. I was actually recruited by Oklahoma, but they redshirted me, and so I
bounced.
Yeah, because my family couldn't afford to like pay for college out of pocket. So
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be getting a scholarship. I transferred to Bowie State, which is a HBCU in Maryland.
Yeah.
And, I've never been around Black people. I was flabbergasted, but great. It was amazing. I got a chance to play sports there and just really be an ambassador for my last name, Toney, and just to really hold it down. So.
All right. So making this movie, Bora, what are some memorable scenes that you can remember that's just off the top of your head that you can remember?
The pool scene was so much fun to shoot. When they were smoking in the backyard, that was so much fun. And I just remember when I hit up the homeowner who came out and was like, "What are you guys doing in my pool?"
Yeah.
When I like casting for him, he actually was the only person in this movie who I didn't know beforehand. Like I knew them already and they were my friends and like I wrote in their voices. But with him, it was like, I don't really know any racist white dudes that I could hit up, like to ask for one, And so when I was casting, I was like, yeah, it needs to be somebody that's comfortable, like playing a racist and saying, Black bitches. And he was, I got you. And he was like, I played Hitler in another project. And I was like, he's perfect. So when he showed up, it was good vibes, and he was I could tell he was uncomfortable at first and kind of like nervous, like he didn't want anybody. And I'm like, look, like we all know you're an actor. We all know you're not really racist. Like the lines, it's supposed to be funny. Like it's fine, So I think that was a really memorable day because we had to like, make sure he knew he wasn't gonna get jumped at the end of the day.
Yeah. That was a good scene too.
But you know what I remember from that scene too is what's her name? Gemma. No, I'm not talking about that. That was it. I'm not talking about that. But a Gemma in the background taking off through the gate.
Yeah.
She was gone, boy.
She was culture. She was true to the culture on that one.
She was out of there.
But that's her thing, though. Anytime something about to break loose, I know somebody about to die as soon as she take out.
She let Bora
take over.
handle it.
Yeah. But I really address colorism as well, and like acknowledge the sense of light skin privilege that I do experience in society. And I felt like it was really, it was necessary to kind of like highlight that in some of the dialogue, even the way the police officer was talking to her allowed me to come in. I've been in those situations where, my daddy, who's, from Memphis, Tennessee, is getting accosted. Meanwhile, the police are letting me explain. And, and I just felt like, it was necessary to address and acknowledge that. So
that's dope.
Yeah. And continue this deep dive into, well, without spoiling, at the very first scene when it was like when he played earlier, when they were dancing and everything, what is the significance behind like the distortion of the song when that because I couldn't really understand what was said.
Yeah.
But what's the significance behind the distortion of the music?
Yeah. I mean, I really wanted to like tap in terms of like, because music is a frequency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just say on all these factors, society, social media, hate, whatever that might play that kind of disrupts that frequency. And so like I wrote it that way because I wanted to depict the disruption of like whatever frequency on, like shoot time in love, beautiful black love, and then all of a sudden that one frequency, that one disruption of the frequency to make her completely someone else and to feel about what was once a beautiful moment. So that was why I did that, and it was also foreshadowing for what the movie. So
that it's a lot. I watched it again, and I went back, and it's a lot of stuff that makes sense now that didn't make sense until it got to the end of the movie. But I watched the scenes knowing what was going to happen, and I was like, okay, that's why the police was only talking to her, or that's why when she left out the gas station, the guy was on her driver's side talking to Jim's character, and it was like you wasn't there, but you was there, and so I understood that after watching going through the whole movie, and it made it like, oh, okay, that's why this happened, that's why that happened.
I've always like really enjoyed like shows like The Twilight Zone and like that Black Mirror, and I always wanted to create kind of gave that same energy, but I wanted it to be funny, and I wanted to make people laugh, and I wanted to like add elements of my own sense of humor and myself in there. And most importantly, I wanted to give like my peers, like who are so talented, who never really got a real shot to show skills and like be themselves on screen. I wanted to give them that opportunity. I watch Issa Rae do that. I watch so many of our like role models, I guess you would say, do that. And I'm like, you know what, like I could do that too. I can empower the people around me and give them a shot. And some of them see it as an opportunity. Some of them see it as a burden because, we had to do some hard work. But it's really all I can do is just like provide the tools, and it's up to them to utilize it how they choose. But at the end of the day, I'm just super proud, like super, super proud,
Speaking of your cast and the people that you put on, how did you get the relationship with like Omar Gooding to put him as the gas station clerk?
The funny thing about that is I value my relationships like a lot. I take good care of people, and if it gets to the point where we can't take good care of each other, I gotta let you go.
Yeah.
But with him, it was interesting because I had done I don't remember if it was a favor or what happened I got distribution locked in for a movie that he was in. I think it was called AM Radio. And the producer of that movie, his name was Ricky Burchell. After we landed distribution for him, he was like, if there's ever anything you need, you call me. And I'm like, yeah, people say that all the time until I call, so I called. Like 6 months later, I was like, by the way, like, I'm shooting this movie. And I just knew if I had like cameos, with people like that it would a little more weight when I was, trying to land distribution. And I was like, you think Omar would want to do this? And so he was like, well, show me something. Like, he needs to see what it is. So I sent him like just one scene that we had already shot. And then I sent him the script because he wanted to read it. And before I knew it, like, I was on the phone with him directly. And he was like, where do I show up? And he was like, it's going to cost you, but I'm going to show up. And so then I was like, okay, I lied and was like, yeah, I got the money. Then I had to go figure out how to get the money. That was a whole nother situation. But we found it. It came through. And next thing I knew, we were shooting with him, and we've been cool ever since. It's been about a year, maybe a little over a year, and he's been really wonderful. We actually did a song together too that's going to be on the soundtrack. So yeah. Same thing was at him at the boxing gym. And him and his wife have just always been so nice and so supportive of everything I'm doing. And I just, sent them the script, showed them what I had in mind, and they were like, we believe in this. And they showed up for me. No LG. I had to protect his agent on the phone, or somebody's agent on the phone, just to get through to his people. But they finally were like, okay, So I just had to be relentless. I had to not take no for an answer. And I had to believe so wholeheartedly in what I was doing that, everybody else believed it too. Even at times when I didn't, when I wasn't sure, I had to just be sure, So.
All right, so look, we got one more scene we want to show.
Okay.
Popping on the screen right now, and we're gonna talk about it.
Okay.
Stopping because I really need to sober up before we get back on the road.
Do you believe in God, Elon?
Of course. Why?
Then pray and ask him to get us into this motherfucking party, bitch. Bora.
What's up, family?
Good, my
Big
guy.
respect.
Thank
Knockout
you.
artist.
Appreciate it. I got me, my wife.
Y'all good.
Right now. Oh yeah, by the way, who you got? Spencer Pacquiao.
Spence all day, homie.
Oh yeah.
100 all day, homie.
Listen,
You know, that's my guy.
you got ass, I got titties. We should have no problem getting into this bitch.
Whoa. Where the fuck y'all think y'all going?
Come on, bro. Damn, how much?
Who you guys know up in here, huh?
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore. That ain't enough for Mount Rushmore. But it's a start, though. I'll take it.
I just have to use the bathroom.
Y'all got shit fucked up. This look like a motherfucking gas station.
Hey, check it out. It goes like this. If you guys don't know anybody up in here, you could just take your little asses, turn the hell around, and go right back to your car where you came from. You understand?
Right there.
Zip.
All right, so like what was your whole mission to set her free? Because how like when you look at her, she's like this. To me, she's like this good girl, this Christian girl that love God, that don't do any wrong.
Yeah, it's to empower her to do what she wanted to do anyway, probably,
Yeah.
All of us have extremes of our personality, and life is really about finding like the balance in the middle, to not be too much of a doormat and not to be too much of Bora, you know what I'm saying? And so like every day I feel like we're sort of just finding the balance in every situation. We're like, okay, do I want to pop off on this person, or do I want to be the bigger and say excuse me and act like, you know what I mean? Every moment is about like, are you gonna are you Bora, and how do you find balance?
You're skipping out again.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Better? No, I'm saying it's we're trying to find the balance every day between being too much of Elon or too much of Bora, Like
yeah.
As humans, like that's really what it comes down to, So I think Bora's mission in that scene specifically, she referenced Mount Rushmore. And that was really to kind of like pay homage to the indigenous peoples whose graves are underneath that, and like how that land was just like completely wiped out from them. And before we shot that scene, actually, Noel G, who played the bouncer, the Mexican bouncer, asked me like, what's the significance of that line? And I told him, like, this is an opportunity for you to pay homage to your ancestors in this moment. I say Mount Rushmore, and that's why he's like, this ain't enough for Mount Rushmore,
Gotcha.
you, but like, you know, so I just really wanted to pay homage in little ways, because it's not like I can, you know, change the past or change anything. I can acknowledge it and at least like show love in that way. So yeah.
I need a set of those beads, though.
Oh,
I need some.
I'll give you the link to where you could buy those beads.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll work.
China McCoy actually makes them, and they come in different colors and everything. So
Okay.
yeah.
Mardi Gras season for us gonna be dope this year.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, yeah. We got.
I see, and I hear you tell us about the soundtrack. I follow you on Instagram as well. And I know you are doing a lot with this movie. I know you recently said you're doing a NFT mask
Yeah.
for Bora mask.
We're going to be doing some NFTs. I've actually partnered with East of the River Network, and they are in East LA, predominantly Mexican and Latino creators and filmmakers and musicians, and like McGrady OG, the artist I told you about who was in the film. Them, and also this guy named Viva Mascal. He's an amazing artist, super talented. He mentors a lot of Black and Brown youth within the LA community, and so I'm partnering with him to do some NFTs, and just like we've done some music together, and it's just been really dope. You know, like the Los Angeles community really believes in itself, and they really have like such an amazing pool of talent that you've probably not heard of mainstream. But I just really want to make it my mission to make sure that at least on my projects that I can, you know, plug them and stay tapped in with them, because they've just been nothing but supportive to me. And I'm not even from LA originally, you know, but they've shown me nothing but love. So
all right, so what do you hope that people can get from the movie Bora?
Well, firstly, I hope they laugh. I hope they laugh a lot.
That's definitely gonna happen.
And secondly, I
know I was killing myself when she took off. I'm still thinking about when she was gone, man. I'm telling you.
She skated, right? I really hope they laugh, and I really hope that after they hear like the story of how the movie was made, and they hear my story, and they hear how like although maybe I did come from somewhat of a privileged life in terms of like having two parents in my home and like things that we take for granted in that nature, I still lost everything, you know, over and over and over and over and over and over again out here in LA as an adult, out here by myself with no family. I lost everything that I had, including myself. And I had to go out and find that again. And I had to rebuild over and over and over and over. Nobody handed me anything. But with that, with not being handed anything, I still found a way to generate my passion and make it into something real and tangible that people can hold in their hands. And if I die tomorrow, I leave a legacy behind. And I think every human deserves to experience that, but they have to understand that they can't wait. They got to go out and take that. They got to go out and create that for themselves. And I just want people to feel inspired, you know, and to feel empowered.
That's dope. Just hearing your story has really inspired me in some aspect of my life. And, you know, just seeing what you was able to do with just a lit crew that you had. Like, this movie looked like a top production, like a top production company did it, like Lionsgate or somebody like that did it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of movie this is.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the writing, the storyline in it. Like, I was like, damn, what's gonna happen? And then when I get to the end, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. How did you shoot the scene with the lowrider with the crew that you had? Like when they riding.
So my cinematographer James in Black, I was like, look, nigga, like you gonna have to hang. We gonna put you in the trunk of another car with one hand, and you gonna hold on to the camera with the other hand. I'll show you guys the video of him literally hanging out the trunk while China is driving in slow motion, swerving, following the pattern of the lowrider.
Oh man!
Literally like holding the camera, like.
Hey, we gotta do what we gotta do,
bruh.
I feel it.
And I was scared because I was like, I ain't even got insurance on this production. Like, I hope this nigga don't fall. Like it was straight guerrilla filmmaking. But James was such a trooper, and he would, you know, he went through a lot, like just in his life while we were making this movie. Him and China both. I mean, they lost people they loved. I lost people I loved. We all like were just at rock bottom, and this was the only thing that really gave us an escape from the reality that was our lives at that time, just with all of the people dying around us and just like fear of COVID and all of us losing our jobs and the industry not popping and us not getting no auditions and just feeling like, well, how do we even like, we can't take care of our families or ourselves? Like, what is this? You know? And so to be able to make something of this quality at a time like that, it just speaks volumes, you know, but I definitely could not have done it without, I mean, I could have done it and I would have done it just because that's the type of person I am, but it wouldn't have been what you experienced without the team that I had because they believed in it so much, you know, and I wouldn't let them give up. I was like, I'm at your house. Like, come outside. We're filming, you know? So,
and they be like, oh, here come next crazy.
Yeah, you got to be a little crazy. You got to be a little crazy to accomplish something like this.
Did a lot of people, did they get upset when they found out that you really didn't, you know, talk like Bora?
Some people were like, what the fuck? I'm like, hey, food. You know, like, I'm an actor at the end of the day, and my job is to bring life to characters and to bring representation to people. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that look like me that talk like Bora. You know, my cousins, like, it's a lot of people that look like me that think like Bora. You know, I might not always think like her. I might not always talk like her, but there's definitely some of me in there, you know? And so when I wanted to merge Black and brown culture in this one character and create a universe that was like, but what if? You know, what if Black and brown people did work together, even in their gay life? You know, like, what does that look like? And that was fun to imagine that and to create something like that. You know, if I was Bora all the time, like, I wouldn't get nothing done and we wouldn't even be here right now.
Bora is something else.
We'd be high right now.
Bora is something else. Walking across the bridge somewhere.
Listening to her music.
Right. Yeah. People are a little disappointed. I mean, sometimes when I'm in that environment, I catch myself, you know, talking like her just because you can't help but absorb, you know, the energy artists, you know, like, you can't help it. Yeah.
All right. So what's next for Miss Tiffany Toney?
It's actually Tony, but I'm gonna let you slide. I'm
okay, not Tony. I'm sorry. Miss Tiffany Toney, what's next?
No, she probably can box a little bit. You might not want to.
I'm just happy she let me slide because I don't want Miss Bora to pop up in my house.
She don't need no blade. She probably got the hands
with the clean cut. You see.
I only fight when I have to. All right.
Okay. All right.
No, but what's next for me is I'm actually working on a prequel to Bora that kind of like dives a little deeper into her origin story. Script is in the process of being fleshed out right now, and then one of my producing partners wrote a script for me to star in and co-produce, and it's called Rumble City, and it's about this underground street fighter who was orphaned in an earthquake, and she was adopted by this military vet who trained her to fight so that she could earn a living because they're living in poverty. And it's all fun and games until somebody comes and tries to gentrify her neighborhood, and she ends up having to battle this major corporation to try to save her hood. And so that's really the next project that I hope we're able to find or manifest funding for, so that we can get that made. But there's a lot of things. I actually just starred in a movie called The Influencer, that was produced by AMC and All Black Network. And that was my first lead role in a project that like wasn't an indie project, like it was a studio funded project. So that's how I knew, like, okay, like, people are seeing Bora and it's making some waves, because with that movie, like, I didn't even have to audition. They just called me and they were like, hey, do you want to play one of the villains in this movie? And I'm like, can I read the script? And when I read it, I was like, absolutely. So I got a chance to work with Preston Whitmore was the director on that, and he did the movie This Christmas, and you know, he worked with people like Idris Elba, you know what I mean? So like, to be directed by him right after Bora, literally like fresh off of the Essence Festival, or no, actually it was right before Essence Festival. I was working with Preston Whitmore like as a lead, you know. So I just feel like after that I was like, well, I feel unstoppable.
You got the train rolling.
Yeah. So I'm definitely writing a few things. And like I said, I'm an independent artist, so it's crazy to watch how the writer's strike is happening, and I just hope that
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, man.
How that affect you?
Oh, I really do, because it's scary. There's a lot of things up in the air, but I really hope that we can get back to work soon, because this is there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. So
For the people, go ahead.
So does that as you as an independent filmmaker, does that affect you much?
not necessarily. I mean, you do still have to kind of like tread lightly, you know what I mean? Like, because a lot of the people that I work with are union, and so I have to in mind what they can and can't. You know, I'm just gonna give it time and just like, you know, see how this all plays out, you know, and be respectful to the situation. Because ultimately I do, you know, what these people are fighting. I mean, they do deserve higher wages. They do deserve protection from AI taking all of our, you know, images and being able to use them as many times as they want without paying us anything or any royalty. We're kind of fighting against. So I definitely support it. It's just a matter of how do we do that and how long do we wait and what are our options, you know, like if this is going to take 3 years, then it's like, okay, then do we just start making our own stuff? Like, what do we do? You know? So I think it really it's just a matter of waiting and seeing how it's going to go. So
AI is kind of scary.
I mean, I really think we learn to use it and we learn to use it to empower ourselves to be faster at our jobs, then it could be a good thing. It's just, it could be a bad thing if it's in the wrong hands.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
All right, for the people that's out there listening, how can they watch this movie?
What's up, y'all? So if you want to watch Bora, the movie, go to Tubi. You can watch it for free. There's a couple commercials, but they're all placed in the, you know, they're placed strategically. So it'll leave you, you know, some time.
I think I got 2 commercials. That's it, 2.
Oh, boom. There you go. Yeah. Watch it on Tubi, or you can watch it commercial free on Amazon Prime, where you have the choice to either rent or buy. So Tubi or Amazon Prime.
All right, black people, you heard it there. Either way, we'll support her. So let's get out there. Let's support Miss Tiffany. Let's do the thing, man. Awesome movie. Great time having you on the podcast. Brandon, anything else you want to tell her?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. It was a roller coaster ride, you know.
Traumatized. You okay?
I'm all right.
I'm
gonna stay away from celebrating like on the Day of the Dead, walk around with the mask on. I'm like, what you got going on? Why you got the mask down?
You be alright.
I think I'll be alright. But yeah, the NFTs are they gonna be like, are they physical in it? Like will you get like
it's gonna be digital art, but there will be like physical perks. So like certain ones you'll get like a t-shirt or like an autograph or an invitation to like a party or an event. So we have all that you know, some incentives to these NFTs. We're working on our roadmap right now and just getting them built, and I'm super excited to share them. It's gonna be super dope. So
need to send out a mask, a Bora mask.
They're gonna have some utility, don't trip.
Okay.
For sure. Before I let you go, for the people that want to follow you and follow your work, how can they follow you on Instagram and Facebook and stuff?
Absolutely. You guys can follow me at Tiffany__Toney, spelled Toney. That's on Instagram. That's on and Twitter. So it's Tiffany__Toney. If you just type in Tiffany Toney, it should pop right up. Yeah, it's easy. You should be able to find me. Everything on my page is like about Bora and about motivation. I'm on TikTok too. My TikTok is Black Angelina Jolie. So come check me out there. I post a lot of motivational stuff there just because that's on my heart and I be sharing it. But yeah, you guys, like, I had to tell y'all. So the trailer that you showed before we went to Essence Festival, it had around 200 views. Okay. And that like the film is out, it has 60,000 views.
Oh man.
Without like a marketing budget or anything. So I really feel like a lot of people are seeing it, and I hope they are. And I feel like it's really, you know, touching people all over the world, from London to Nigeria. Like people out to me, and I'm just really excited. And I just ask, you know, you guys go watch the movie, but leave a review and like tell your friends, you know, post about it. Help me, because I need help. I need support.
Yeah, gotcha. We got you. Well, Miss Tiffany, thank you for stopping by the podcast, okay?
Thank you for having me. I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, man. That's right here. It's the Culture and Effect podcast. Tune in next week, man. And we'll be back at it right here on the Culture and Effect podcast. Hold on 1 second.